Okay, so NATO just shot down an Iranian missile heading toward Turkish airspace. Turkey is a NATO member. NATO has Article 5. Attack one member, you attack them all. What if I told you this single interception changes who's actually winning this war? America claims total victory while Iran keeps launching missiles that NATO must now defend against. Guess whose strategy is working when the most powerful military alliance gets pulled into defending territory it never planned to protect? Everyone believes America's overwhelming firepower guarantees victory in conflicts like this. But what actually determines who wins a war versus who survives one? If superior technology decided outcomes, Vietnam would have ended in weeks, not years. Yet here we are watching the same pattern unfold in real time with Iran. How does the weaker side keep expanding the conflict while the stronger side keeps claiming progress? America launched Operation Epic Fury 5 days ago, promising swift regime change. Hundreds of targets hit, Supreme Leader killed, naval capacity neutralized. Defense Secretary Hegseth says America is winning, yet Iran's response grows stronger daily, not weaker. If understanding how weaker powers outlast stronger ones by changing the game itself interests you, consider subscribing to Prof. Jang Explained. This channel examines why military victories don't guarantee strategic success. Share this with someone watching news coverage wondering why promised quick victory keeps taking longer. They need to see what metrics actually matter in asymmetric warfare. The first indicator is escalation scope. America wanted contained strikes eliminating Iranian leadership and military capacity. Clean operation, minimal spillover, quick conclusion. But look at what's actually happening now. Iran struck Israel, Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Oman, Jordan, Cyprus. Lebanon joined through Hezbollah. The conflict spread to 9 countries in 5 days. This wasn't accidental. This was Iran's strategy. Force America to defend multiple fronts simultaneously, stretch resources, create diplomatic complications, pull in regional allies, make the war too expensive politically and economically to sustain. Every country Iran hits creates new pressure on America. Consider the NATO involvement. Turkish airspace got threatened. NATO had to respond. Now NATO is technically engaged even without declaring war. This creates political complexity America didn't want. Turkey is NATO member, but also maintains relations with Iran. France deployed aircraft carrier. Germany sent air defense. Britain contributed assets. European allies are being drawn in incrementally. This is strategic genius from Iran's perspective. They're not trying to win militarily. They're trying to make the war politically unsustainable for America. Every day the conflict continues without regime change proves Iran's strategy works. Every new country involved increases pressure for negotiated settlement. The second indicator is economic warfare. America struck military targets. Iran struck economic infrastructure. Different objectives entirely. America wants regime change. Iran wants economic collapse of American allies, specifically the Gulf Cooperation Council countries, because GCC is the foundation of American economic power in the region. Here's how this works. GCC sells oil for dollars. Those petrodollars get invested in American markets, stock market, real estate, tech companies. This flow of money keeps American economy functioning at current levels. If that flow stops, American markets face serious pressure. Iran knows this, so they're targeting the infrastructure that enables this system. Qatar shut down LNG production after Iranian strikes. That's 20% of global LNG supply offline. Natural gas prices in Europe jumped 66% in 1 week. Qatar also arrested 10 suspected IRGC spies operating inside the country. This shows Iran has intelligence networks throughout GCC despite being enemies. That's remarkable strategic preparation. UAE reported 3 foreign nationals killed and 58 injured from Iranian attacks. 2 tankers hit off UAE coast. 1 caught fire. Amazon Web Services lost 3 data centers. 2 in UAE struck directly. 1 in Bahrain damaged by nearby strike. These facilities remain offline. This disrupts cloud computing for entire region. Saudi Arabia got hit too. U.S. Embassy in Riyadh struck by drones. Diplomatic quarter in Riyadh hit 4 times total. This is sophisticated targeting. Iran is sending a message. American presence in GCC isn't safe. American allies aren't protected. The military umbrella has holes. The economic impact compounds. Emirates Airlines suspended all flights. Etihad grounded operations. Qatar Airways stopped flying. Major air traffic through Middle East is paralyzed. This affects global supply chains, shipping routes, business operations. The economic cost multiplies daily. Trump promised this would take 4 weeks or less. We're on day 5. The economic damage already exceeds projections for entire operation. Insurance costs for shipping through Persian Gulf have tripled. Some carriers are rerouting around Africa, adding weeks to delivery times. This affects prices globally. Oil prices matter here too. Brent crude rose 36% this year. Every day conflict continues, prices climb. This creates inflation pressure globally. Higher energy costs mean higher prices for everything. Iran knows this. Economic pressure on American allies serves Iran's strategic goals. The third indicator is casualty asymmetry. Official numbers matter less than strategic impact. America admits 6 service members killed, 4 identified publicly, all killed in single Iranian drone strike on Kuwait port facility. This creates domestic political pressure immediately. American casualties make wars unpopular fast. Iran reports 1,097 civilian deaths. This number comes from independent human rights groups, not just Iranian government. Included are 168 children, 14 teachers. These deaths came from strike on girls' elementary school in Manab. America and Israel both deny responsibility. Investigation ongoing, but the political impact is immediate. International condemnation focuses on civilian casualties. War crime accusations surface. This matters strategically because it shifts global opinion, makes American position harder to defend diplomatically, creates pressure for ceasefire. Iran doesn't need military victory. They need political pressure that forces negotiations. The casualty ratio reveals different strategies. America tries limiting own casualties while maximizing enemy military losses. Iran accepts casualties while maximizing political cost to America. These are different victory conditions. America measures success by targets destroyed. Iran measures success by days the war continues without regime change. The fourth indicator is operational tempo. America launched massive initial strikes, shock and awe. Then what? Each strike package costs millions. Precision weapons aren't cheap. This operation burns resources at unsustainable rate. Iran launches hundreds of drones and missiles. Each costs fraction of American interceptors. America spends 11 to 33 million per Patriot. Iran's missiles cost 100,000 each. This ratio is catastrophic. Iran can sustain this indefinitely. America cannot. Some threats get through. One drone that penetrates defense and hits data center creates more damage than cost to produce it. This is asymmetric warfare economics working exactly as designed. Consider the friendly fire incident. Kuwaiti FA-18 shot down 3 American F-15s by mistake. Iranian drones penetrating. Multiple countries operating air defense simultaneously. Confusion inevitable. This happens when Iran forces tempo defense can't sustain cleanly. The fifth indicator is diplomatic isolation. America expected allied support. Got mixed results. UK refused to allow strikes from Diego Garcia. Spain prevented use of bases. Trump threatened retaliation. NATO allies not automatically supporting operation. United Nations hasn't authorized this. No Security Council resolution. This violates international law according to most scholars. Only Israel fully supports operation. Compared to Iran's position, Russia condemned strikes immediately. China stayed quiet. Most of Middle East wants conflict to end. The sixth indicator is strategic objectives shifting. Trump initially said regime change not primary goal, then said someone from within might take power, then threatened elimination of next supreme leader. These shifting statements reveal unclear endgame. If objective is regime change, it requires ground invasion. History proves this. No regime fell to air power alone, but ground invasion would be catastrophic. Tehran has 9 million people. Urban warfare would dwarf Iraq and Afghanistan combined. If objective is degrading capabilities, that's failing too. Iran keeps launching strikes. Production facilities are dispersed underground. Iran prepared for this war 20 years. They built redundancy. You can't eliminate this in 5 days. If objective is deterrence, that's definitely failing. Iran isn't deterred. They're escalating. Spreading conflict regionally. This is opposite of deterrence. America wanted to demonstrate consequences. Instead, Iran demonstrated capability to impose costs. So what is America actually achieving? Damaged Iranian military, killed leadership, including supreme leader, sunk naval vessels, destroyed some infrastructure, but strategically, none of this produces regime change. And regime change was stated objective when operation began. So by that metric, operation is failing despite tactical victories. The weapons stockpile question matters. America has finite munitions. Patriot interceptors aren't unlimited. Precision weapons aren't unlimited. After 5 days of intensive operations, inventories are decreasing. Reports indicate UAE and Qatar denied running low. But denials often precede reality. Iran keeps producing enough to sustain current pace. The seventh indicator is sustainment capacity. America has finite weapon stockpiles. Patriot interceptors aren't unlimited. Precision munitions aren't unlimited. After 5 days of intensive operations, inventories are decreasing. Reports indicate UAE and Qatar denied running low on interceptors, but denials often precede reality. Iran has different sustainment challenge. They need to keep producing drones and missiles faster than America destroys them. So far, they're succeeding. Launches continue daily. Targets keep getting hit. This suggests production capacity remains intact or is at least sufficient for current operational tempo. The logistics also matter. America operates from bases throughout region. Those bases are now targets. Iran struck Al Udeid in Qatar. That's largest U.S. airbase in Middle East. Struck port facilities in Kuwait. Diplomatic facilities in Saudi Arabia. Every American installation in region is vulnerable. This complicates operations enormously. The comparison to previous conflicts is revealing. Iraq 2003 took 3 weeks to topple government, then 20 years to stabilize. Afghanistan took weeks to remove Taliban, then 20 years before Taliban returned. Initial military success didn't produce strategic victory, same pattern emerging with Iran. 5 days in, and signs show military success won't translate to political objectives. Regime hasn't fallen, Iran keeps fighting, international opposition grows, economic costs mount. No clear path to victory exists beyond continuing strikes indefinitely. Trump says operation ahead of schedule, but schedule for what? Destroying targets, yes. Achieving regime change? That requires years if ground invasion happens, or never if relying on air power alone. The schedule referenced isn't connected to strategic objective. The final indicator is what's not happening. Iranian government hasn't collapsed. Popular uprising hasn't emerged. Military hasn't fractured. Regional allies haven't abandoned Iran. None of the conditions necessary for regime change without ground invasion are manifesting. America's playing 20th century conventional war. Massive strikes, overwhelming force. Iran is playing 21st century asymmetric conflict. Economic warfare, regional escalation, political pressure. These are different games, and Iran's game is working better. The question isn't whether America has superior military. Obviously, yes. The question is whether superior military produces strategic victory. History says no, technology says no, economics says no. Yet operation continues assuming firepower eventually produces regime change. This assumption failed repeatedly. It's failing again. Military can win every battle and lose the war. This happened in Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan. Now potentially Iran. Pattern repeats because lesson doesn't get learned. Each generation believes their technology is different, their situation unique. Their strategy will succeed where previous ones failed. But fundamental dynamics haven't changed. Asymmetric warfare favors the side willing to absorb punishment while imposing costs. Iran is willing. They prepared. They built infrastructure to sustain it. They accept casualties that would topple democracies, and they're imposing costs that accumulate faster than benefits. When NATO shoots down missiles toward Turkey, it reveals how far conflict spread beyond original scope. When France deploys carriers, it shows European allies being pulled in. When Kuwaiti jets shoot down American aircraft, it demonstrates chaos. These aren't signs of winning. They're signs of uncontrollable expansion. America wanted quick, clean operation, instead got spreading regional war with unclear endgame. 5 days in, and trajectory points toward prolonged conflict. This matters because prolonged conflict is exactly what Iran wants and exactly what America can't sustain politically.